Hello YouTube friends. Oh, he's getting my feet. I'll talk about that a little bit too. So here we have in our yard two trees that are some of my favorite springtime trees. This here is a redbud tree, and it should be called a purple bud tree actually because it's purple. Kind of like red onions are actually purple, they should be called purple onions, but here we have a redbud tree. And this tree Bill planted here 9 years ago. Before we even bought the house, he said he's going to come up and plant a tree. And I thought it was pretty funny because I said, well, what if we don't buy the house? And he said, well, then someone gets to have a beautiful redbud tree. So these little buds are edible. These little flowers are edible. So there's a nice edible for you. Is the redbud tree, the flowers of the redbud tree. And what you could do, they're not opened up yet, but I'll show them to you once they start opening up. And you can have a salad. If you bring a fruit salad, you could put a couple of the flowers on the fruit salad, which looks really, really nice. So here's the second tree in our yard, and I believe this one was a volunteer. I think this one just came up on its own. And this is a serviceberry. It has a couple names. One is serviceberry, another is Juneberry, another name is Shadbush. So first we'll start with Shadbush. It was called Shadbush because this would bloom during the times when the shad would make their trip up the river. So they knew the shad would be coming. When this was blooming, that's the time the shad was coming. So they nicknamed this Shadbush. Okay, we're going to try it again. Serviceberry is called serviceberry because during the springtime, the ground would thaw. In the winter, you could not bury the people who died. You had to store their bodies. So in the springtime, when this tree was blooming, was usually around the time the ground thawed. So that's when you would have all the services for all the people who passed away over the winter, and so-called serviceberry. Yay! And Juneberry, they call it Juneberry because not only these flowers are edible, but the berries are edible, and they taste pretty much like blueberries. And a lot of people eat them later in the spring is when the berries happen. So you could try the flowers now, and then in the springtime, and later in the springtime, you can try the berries, the Juneberries. And actually they're Juneberries, so they're supposed to be berries in June, but they do happen a little bit earlier. So, thank you. I hope you like this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up. If you like more of these type of videos, subscribe, and we'll see you again. Thanks. And this here is Mr. Gargoyle. He's our resident house protector, and I know he looks like a carnivore, but believe me, he's been a raw vegan for his whole entire life, and he's been with us for about 6 years. So our little buddy here is definitely a frugivore. Those teeth don't look like frugivorous teeth, but trust me, he really is. When that's blooming, you know you can dig through the earth to bury your bodies in the springtime, in the early spring. So usually all the services would be happen to bury the people when they passed away.